Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching this video. Today I'm doing my first get ready with me video and I'm going to try and make it as less awkward as I possibly can since I've never done this before. But I'm going to do a gold, bronze, glammy look, which is something I feel like I do quite often, but I'm going to try and make this one a little bit different. I'm going to use some new products that I haven't used before and show you guys what I'm using as I'm using it and how I'm using it. So if you want to see what look I come up with, please keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. So the first thing I do when doing my makeup is use my primer. This is the Smashbox Oil Primer and I've said this like time and time again. This stuff is so freaking amazing. My skin is so super dry, so I love using this. I just bought a new bottle from Sephora the other day. So I found out about Smashbox Oil Primer, I guess maybe like a year ago, so not even that long ago. But it's seriously my favorite. So if you have super dry skin or your skin is like flaky or anything like that, I always recommend this one. Now I'm gonna move on to my foundation, which I totally forgot to wet my beauty blender, which is so freaking annoying, so let me go do that real quick. Next I'm using a few color correctors. So these are from Sally's. I'm using a yellow one for under my eyes and this green one for these little breakouts. Normally I don't worry too much about my under eyes, but lately I have just been looking super tired. So I've been trying to conceal them a little bit better. And I really do like the stuff from Sally's. So it goes on really well and it blends in really well also. So now that that is all blended in, I'm moving on to my foundation and I'm using this Iconic London pigment stick. So this one, I believe there's 3 shades. There's a light, medium, and like super dark. So this is the medium shade. You can use this for contouring, but lately I've been using it as just my regular foundation. Just because I've been using a ton of self-tanner and my skin everywhere else besides my face is super tan. I used to put the tanner on my face, but it just kind of like clogs my pores a little bit. So I've been keeping it off my face and I just do it from my neck down. So I'm always super tan on my body and not on my face. So that's why I've been using that medium color. Next, I'm gonna do my concealer and, well, sort of like my contour, I guess, but I'm using the lighter shade from this Iconic London pigment stick. And I like to put that just right on my chin and right on the underneath part of my cheekbones. And then I'm also gonna do a little bit under my eyes. And then we're gonna go back with like a regular concealer and do that also. I have to check if my door is closed because I hate when I'm doing this kind of stuff and my boyfriend can hear me or he has people over doing work on the house, and it would just like mortify me if someone heard me talking on camera like this by myself. Even though I'm putting this on YouTube, so I don't even know what my deal is, but I always just feel awkward. Now I'm gonna use my regular concealer, and this is the Naked Skin Concealer by Urban Decay. So I just bought this at Sephora the other day as a recommendation from one of my co-workers. And I think I like it for the most part. It's super lightweight. So I like that, but I don't know if it like covers a whole lot. But it covers just enough for me, so I'll stick with this one. Normally I like to just buy different stuff every time I go to Sephora. So if I'm out of concealer or like out of powder or something, I always try and get a different one unless there's one that I found that I just like totally love. So I'm kind of just going back over those same areas. I'm not gonna do this underneath part again. I'm gonna try and get that little zit. I'm sure I'm making like the worst face right now. I hate blending in my stuff or like doing my under eye stuff because I always have like some weird ass face. One thing I am gonna do is put on some Vaseline on my lips. I've been obsessed with doing this lately. My lips have been so dry. So I've been using this like at night, and then I'll use it as I'm putting on my makeup just to kind of sit there before I put on my lipstick. Next, I'm gonna do my powder, and I just bought this from Sephora the other day also, and this is from Benefit. It's the Hello Flawless. I love using a powder. I keep a powder in my purse all the time also, so if I'm like out and about or at work or something and I'm feeling a little oily, I can just dust a little bit of powder on. So I like to do powder, and then I'll go back and do my translucent powder as well. So now that I have my powder on, I'm gonna move on to my contour, and I'm gonna bust out my old OG Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit. I kind of forgot that I even had this. For the longest time, I was just using my Bahama Mama bronzer from the Balm Cosmetics, which I really, really love. But I feel like I've been using it so often that I need to use something else, and I have a ton of different palettes that are cream contours, and I love cream contour, but it's like sometimes I just don't feel like blending it, or I don't have the time, and I just feel like powder is a lot easier. I'm gonna do a little on my jawline. I hate my jawline actually. So I feel like whenever I turn to the side, I just have like, I don't have like a defined profile. And so I've thought about doing the Kybella that you see all over Instagram of people like getting all those needle points like injected into their neck. But it's super expensive and it kind of scares me, so I will just contour the hell out of my chin. And can't forget my forehead, because my forehead is gigantic. So when I first started out doing like my Instagram stuff, which I've said before was really only like a year ago, is when I really started like building on my tutorials and posting pictures and stuff. And you guys would not believe like how many comments I got about my forehead or me looking like an alien, which I think is kind of cool. I like my face shape. It's like super like heart shape. That's what I would say it is. But people think I look like an alien, so that's kind of cool. Now I'm gonna contour my nose, and I am honestly not the best at contouring my nose. I don't have like a huge issue with my nose anyway, but it does feel nice to make it look more defined. But I've also broken my nose like 3 times in my life, so it's not like the straightest. So that can make contouring my nose a little bit more difficult as well. So the first time I broke my nose, I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade. And we were playing some game in gym. I don't even know what it was, but basically you would like get in a little like ball position, and then your partner would like jump over you. And so I was jumping over my partner, and we were like right next to the wall. And as I jumped over her, my face just like went right into the wall like that. And so my nose like hit it first. So I broke my nose that way. And then the second time I broke my nose, I was in like 7th grade, I think. And I was on my friend's trampoline, like we do every single day after school. I'm jumping, I'm like doing this like trick, and I'm like trying to show off to my friends, and I was like, okay, now watch me, I'm gonna do this trick. And so I did like some flip thing, and as I did it, my knee came up and like just smacked me straight in the nose like that. Like my own knee hit my own nose, and I heard it crack. Like it literally went, and I heard it, and I just like screamed. And so a few weeks after that, I had to go to the hospital, and they like corrected my nose, but it wasn't like a plastic surgeon by any means. I think it was just someone that was like covered through my insurance, and so it wasn't like a nose job per se. But I did have to wear a cast forever, and it was super embarrassing because I was in like 7th grade. Moving on to my setting powder, and I've also said this time and time again, I love this stuff. It's Givenchy Universal Nude Setting Powder. This stuff is so amazing. I've tried multiple setting powders. I've tried the Laura Mercier one that everyone loves, and I I don't like it. So this is the most expensive thing that I buy, but I also think it's worth it, so I'm gonna keep buying it. When I do my setting powder, I like to use a dry beauty blender. I know a lot of people will use a wet one. For some reason that just does not work for me. So I leave this on for maybe just like a few minutes. What I do like to do now is move on to my brows. Alright, so I got my brows on, and now I'm gonna move on to my eyes. I'm gonna use my Meet Matte Adore palette by The Balm Cosmetics. I love this palette. So I always use this one right here. It's called Matte Bernard. And then I'll use a little bit of Matte Jones as well. Oh, hi, there's my setup right there. I'm just putting that shade Matte Bernard right in the crease of my eyes. It's gonna be my transition color. Now I'm using a smaller rounded brush, and I'm using that Matte Jones shade, and I'm putting that like right in the crease. Because before I was putting it in the crease but kind of bringing it up and out, and now I just want this right in the crease. The color I'm going to use on my lid is by Pat McGrath. This is the Gold 000 pigment. I love this stuff. It is so pigmented, and you also can use a brush for it. So I'm actually using this Tweezerman brush. It's their shader brush. I have found with some other metallics, like some of the metallics in the Huda Beauty palette, you cannot take a brush to. At least I haven't been able to, and I've seen a few other reviews that it's just really hard to pick up with a brush and you have to use your finger, which is fine, but if you're wanting something that's, you know, a little bit not so messy looking, I guess, it's nicer to be able to use a brush. Little bit of fallout when you're using this, so I just kind of like dust as I go. You could also do your foundation last and do your eyes first. Next I'm using the Pat McGrath Bronze. This is the 005 pigment, and same thing, just a different color. So I'm going to use this in the corners of my eyes. I'm just going to kind of dab this in the corner of my eye. And I'm going to do it throughout the crease as well. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit just so you can see a little bit better. This is not showing up super bronze since I already have all that gold on underneath, which is totally fine with me. So since we can't see it as well, I'm just going to go ahead and put this all throughout the crease of my eye. So I also wanted to share with you guys my experience with Sally's. So I did a photo shoot with them a couple weeks ago in Dallas. They're based out of Denton, Texas, which is super close to where I'm from, and I'm from the Dallas area, so it was really exciting to be able to get to go back. But Sally's asked me sort of last minute if I wanted to be part of this photo shoot they were doing. And I've been working with Sally's for a while, so I was super excited when they asked me. I was like, I couldn't even believe they were asking me to even be part of something like that, because I've never in my life done anything like that. So it was super exciting, but it was also super nerve-wracking. So I had maybe a week or two to kind of like prepare for it. Okay, before I move on to my story, I'm moving on to the inner corners of my eyes and underneath my brow bone. This is the Balm Cosmetics Overshadow, and this is the shade No Money, No Honey. I also didn't know very many details going into it, and so that made me even more nervous. I mean, I had enough details, so what they told me was that I was going to be doing 2 videos and 1 like still photos, like a photo shoot. So that's what was making me so nervous, is because of the video part, and everyone's like, oh, you'll do fine, you do your YouTube stuff, you do your Instagram stuff all the time, which is true, but it's so different doing it in the comfort of your own home, and no one's watching me back here. I'm just all by myself. If I mess up, I can like stop and start over and not feel weird or awkward or whatever. So I was super nervous that it was gonna be like a room full of people watching me. And then they also said that it was gonna be me and 3 other girls doing it. So in my head, I was picturing, you know, other Instagram girls or like YouTube girls, and I just got so nervous because like I'm so shy naturally. Easter weekend was the weekend before I left, and my parents came in town and I hadn't seen them in a while, so I was already feeling like a little overwhelmed by seeing them, and because I love seeing them and I love when they visit. And so when they got here, my mom started asking me about the Sally's photo shoot, and she was asking like what we'd be doing and what was gonna happen for it and everything, and I started talking about it, and then I just like broke down and I started crying. I was like bawling, and my mom was like, so like, what are you doing? Like, why are you crying? And I just had felt so overwhelmed, so nervous, so scared to do something new that I just like broke down. It just ended up being totally fine. Honestly, it was so much fun. I am so glad I got to be part of something like that. And you will probably see me in Sally's stores in sometime between August and October. Now I'm going to move on to my eyeliner, and I'm going to use the Balm Cosmetics. I'm using their Schwing eyeliner. I love this stuff. So lately with my eyeliner, I've been starting with just outlining my eye and then worrying about my wing at the very end. Got my eyeliner on finally. It took me forever and I was trying to get them as even as I possibly could. So now I'm just gonna do my lashes, and I'm curling them with this lash curler. It is from Tweezerman. And I'm also gonna use this new mascara that I got. It's from L'Oreal, and it is their Voluminous Primer and Voluminous Original Mascara. They sent me these, and they even put a little C on this one, which makes me feel so special. I'm not worrying too much about like using too much of it because I'm gonna put lashes on anyway. So I also got a huge box from Huda Beauty, which I am so thankful for. I've never used her lashes, and I was so excited to get this box from her. But so she sent me a ton of lashes, so I'm gonna use the Farrah number 12. These are the faux mink lashes, and I am so excited to use them. And I've always wanted to do this because I always see girls on Instagram doing that. I've also talked about this guy before. It's by Ardell, and it's their little lash applicator. So this makes putting on eyelashes so much easier as well. So a lot of the time I will use that just to get it on my eye in the right spot, and then I'll go back with my tweezers and get the corners. Moving on to my cheeks finally, now that my eyes are done, I am using the Balm Cosmetics Betty Lou Manizer. This is a bronzer, and it has a little bit of a highlight in it as well, and I'm just gonna dust that right across my cheekbones. This is a really great bronzer and highlighter to use all in one, so on days when I'm like running super late or don't have enough time to do like a full face of makeup, if I can just put a little powder on and then dust this on over my cheeks, it makes like the biggest difference. Next, I'm using Dallas by Benefit, and I guess I didn't even know that they had this, but when I was in Sephora the other day, I saw it, and the packaging is just so cute. I love everything Benefit does, but the fact that it is Dallas, which is my hometown, makes it even more exciting. So this is just a really pretty bronzer. It's almost like a blush as well. There's a tiny bit of a shimmer, and it also smells really, really good. Now for my highlighter, which is always my favorite part, I'm using the Huda Beauty highlighter. This is her 3D highlighter palette. When I first saw her talking about it, I was a little confused because I didn't know it was like, I knew it was a palette, but I didn't know like why you used all four at the same time. So it's really cool because she has on here the steps. So you do your first step and you apply this just as a base. Your second step is this one, and you just put it all over your, like the tops of your cheekbones up into your temple. This one is the third one, and this goes underneath your cheekbone, and then this one is the last one, and sorry, you can't even see that. So this one is the last one, and that is more like a blush, and you kind of just dust it on the like rosy parts of your cheeks. I am using the Morphe M143 brush. I got this forever ago and kind of stopped using it, and I'm not really sure why, and just picked it back up. So I love this brush because it covers like a huge area of your face, which is also nice when you're in a hurry and you want that pop of highlighter. So this one's nice because it kind of gets your entire cheek all in one swipe. So that was the first shade. That one is the Prep, and then that is Capri. Now I'm on to the second one. This is Set, and this shade is called Santorini. So I'm just putting that right just on the very like tip top of my cheekbone. I'm gonna bring that up into my temple a little bit. So next up is I'm gonna botch this word, Azores. Maybe I'm just not cultured enough to know like where these actual places are, but this is the third one, and this is Sculpt. So you're applying this under your cheekbones to add dimension and shape. And then last but not least, we're gonna use Ibiza, and this is step number 4, which is Flush. So it says sweep Ibiza on the apples of your cheeks for a healthy glow. Last but not least, I am doing my lips, and I'm using this MAC lipstick, Gabriel Zamora collaboration that he did with MAC. It's also super creamy, and it applies really well. For this look, I also wanted my lips to look really glossy, so I'm just gonna use this Palladio lip gloss. It's from Sally's. It's just a clear gloss. And then very last but not least, I'm gonna set it with my Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. I love this stuff. Just gonna drench myself in it, and there you have it. So this was the look I did for you today. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you want me to do for my next video, and I will see you guys next time.